Thanks for tuning in to Know Wine in No Time. I'm your host Dave, and today we're coming to you from Languedoc-Roussillon, France, right outside of Minervois in a town called Carcassonne. And Carcassonne is located right on the Laude River, which is right behind us, and it's a medieval city. You notice over my shoulder, you see the walls to the medieval city that was built in the 13th century. A beautiful hamlet and a great place for us to talk about a grape called Carignan. So when we look at Languedoc-Roussillon as an area, we're now talking about the southwest part of France, just in from Spain, but before we get over to the Rhone Valley. And here, red wines are dominant, but white wines are produced as well as rosés. White wines are produced from grapes like Viognier, Marsanne, Roussanne, Macabeo, Bourboulon, Rolle, Claret, and Muscat. Now, red wines are always a blend and reliant on a grape called Carignan, which can account for up to 40% of the blend. When we look at the balance of the blend, it's made up by grapes like Grenache, Mourvèdre, and also Syrah. So when we get back to Carignan, because that's really what Minervois is all about and what it's defined by, when we look at Carignan, that grape has historically presented quite a bit of a challenge for winemakers. Why is that? Carignan has very thick skins, and because of the thick skins, it imparts a significant amount of tannin to the winemaking process. Now, tannins, if you remember, are a sensation. They're not a taste. Tannins are the things that make our mouth feel dry, kind of get a tingle in our jaws, and also make our teeth feel just a little bit furry. So in order to tame the tannins in Carignan, some of the French vintners have deployed two different techniques. One's called micro-oxidation, and what that is taking and actually bubbling a little bit of oxygen up through the maceration and fermentation process. This allows the tannins to be released in a much slower fashion. But probably the most widely used technique is one called carbonic maceration. Now, that's a big word. What that basically means is we're allowing the grapes to crush themselves. So let's think about that. We've picked the Carignan in the fields, in the vineyards, and we're going to go ahead and place them in the fermentation tanks and allow them to macerate. Now, on the skins of the grapes themselves, there is indigenous yeast that appears out in the vineyards. That yeast begins to act upon the sugars in the grapes and actually ferments the grape from the outside in. Because it weakens the skins of the grapes, it actually crushes under its own weight. This soft crushing technique, what that does is that allows Carignan to be made with significantly less tannins than if we crushed the grapes in a traditional fashion. So, let's go ahead and talk about what we can expect from a Carignan-based wine. So today, I'm tasting a Girard Bertrand. That is the vintner, and this is his wine that's a blend called La Ville Bertrand. And this particular wine comes from the town of Minervois, just a very short distance from here. So this particular wine, if we look at it, we notice that it is very deep and dark, garnet or ruby in color. And if we spin it to try to liberate some of the aromas, we notice that the aromas are dark, very mature. So let's think plums, raisins. There's a little bit of caramely vanilla oak coming out of this. It's a very deep, dark, rich smelling wine. Now across the palate, this particular Carignan blend comes across with a very plummy persona. So the plum flavor is very well present. You also have a little bit of black cherry at the core. And then surrounding the edges is a very firm structure of tannins and also the sweet vanilla caramel taste of a very well oaked wine. This wine is very well balanced from acid to tannins to fruit to oak to alcohol, and a very pleasant wine. So it's a beautiful day on the banks of the Laude, and I'm going to go ahead and enjoy the rest of this glass of wine. I thank you for tuning in. That's all the time we have. And please come back next time, and soon you'll know wine in no time.